On the previous, can you bring up the previous screen where you were defining your pod?
Yes.
Now, you've got that first line, the name, all right, and it's got an asterisk by it. What does the asterisk mean? Tell me.
The red asterisk means it's required. So
Okay.
if I change the company,
So that helps identify the key, basically, for your table.
What's going on, and
Okay.
it's required now, so it has a red asterisk.
All right, and then all the X's, the red X's, don't do there.
That means I can delete that. So if I want to go back here, I can.
Oh, it's just a delete thing. Okay, great.
And then these edit buttons are how you can re-edit these.
And you can't delete the first.
You can never
Field.
delete the name column, but you can change it to something else. So if you want the name to be the company, it can be the company, but you just change it to it. So you can do that here. Edit name column.
Does your key field always have to be the first field?
What?
Does the key field always have to be the first field in your record layout?
You can change it around however you want.
Thank you.
No problem. Anyone else have any questions?
On the data types, under column type, number, URL, things like that, is validation or masking possible? So you can validate a number has always got 2 decimal places, or you can mask a phone number to XXX-XXXX?
Yes, with the input field helper, you can add a field, the normal field that they would be entering it into, and then add your own JavaScript validation, however you see fit. So you can say, okay, if it's not this formatting with regex, make sure it is. And you can also do it with before and after helpers, and these run basically before the pod data is saved, so it makes sure, even though the JavaScript validation went through, make sure that they entered it this way, not formatted the correct way. Or you can do an after helper, which is like, the new user, contact this person, we need to approve them manually, or whatever. So it can be very complex and very useful.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
What about adding a unique identifier to a numerical value or something that's randomly assigned or incremented each time?
Each pod has 2 things.
Well, 3 things. Each pod has 3 things. It has a name column, and it has an ID column, which is related to the table. So that's specific to the table, so no pod item under member has more than one of the same ID, and that's just the table ID. We'll get to that part when we implement it.
Okay.
But also there's a pod ID, which is no pod item, no matter what, if it's a member or if it's a state or whatever, each one has their own unique identifier. So you can use both of those inside the templates in however way you wish.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and add a member, just really fast. I'm not going to do a photo or anything because this uploader is pretty crappy. And I don't have any images on my computer right now. So I'm just going to do it myself because it's easy. And by the way, this form right here, you can put it on your website, so we'll get to that part in a minute too. I'm just showing you how the data is related and how you can manage it on the back end. And right here, you can see that Tony has 3 usernames. All right, so I added a new one. What I want to do is I want to go browse. Okay, here's a list of the users currently, and so far it's just me. So you'll see when it was last modified, what pod it belongs to. But things can get a little bit more complex. So what if I want to make that its own section? Just like posts and pages, I can do a top-level menu checkbox here on the pod, and I'll tell it to be members. Now the pod name is member, but if I define the label here differently, it will be members, and it'll stick on the navigation side of the menu. So let's refresh now, and there it is. So it has its own section, so you don't have any cross-contamination between other pods. Again, we are working on this interface. I've developed a prototype that I'm using right now that is, it looks just like the WordPress page and management here. So it looks just like this. So we're working on that, and things will be a lot more customizable. But for now, this is what it looks like. And you can edit a member and very easily change stuff. All right, so next, how do we display members? And let me go ahead and let me add Tony real fast, just so we have not just me, so you can see that it works. I'm gonna guess. That's gotta be Tony. All right, so now we have both Tony and me. And so if I edit me right now, it's going to save a modification date on that, and you'll see me up here above Tony, because right now it's sorted by modified, date modified. Again, we'll be changing that so you can custom sort and custom show what fields you want to show on that editing screen. All right, so displaying it on your site, it's not that complex. It's really very simple once you just follow these steps. All right, so let's say we want to have a members section, and it's not going to be their details. It's just going to be names, maybe a photo, or we can use your gravatar. And then we add another one, and we're going to use wildcard. And what the wildcard is, that asterisk, is basically it's saying anything after members is going to be pulled into this pod page. And if I go back and say I want to make sure that I want to make sure that this page pulls up ahead of time and no one can overwrite that. That can happen also, because wildcards are short URLs, and the URLs that pull up for the wildcard matching are sorted by length. So you can override things. So for this instance, we're going to use members/star, and then add the page. I'm going to go back to the members. So we have a couple different sections here. We have the main code here, which is just your content area. And you have pre-code, which is optional. This means, like, if you want to have your own add and edit forms on your website and you want to restrict it to a specific user or user level or make sure they're logged in, you can do that here by saying, like, for instance, if and I'm going to make sure if they're not logged in, they're going to be redirected. So now, if I save this and someone goes to the members page and they're not logged in, they're not going to see it because they're going to be redirected to the home page. That's why I told it right there. The great thing about the pre-code is it's run before any output is run on your site, before your theme processes anything, before anything. So they won't have a chance to get any code that you have on your site. It's not JavaScript. It's pure PHP right inside WordPress's redirect loop. And then I'm going to take that out so you guys can see it if you want to take a look at it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with the members pod. So I'm going to initiate it real fast. And this code can be really reused anywhere. It's very simple. So I'm going to keep it very simple. And I want to show up to 15 members at a time. And at this point, I'm not going to use any validation or he did want to make sure people can be verified, so we won't add that yet. So what this does is this line of code tells you this member variable is going to become the pod for member. You can provide a table ID, like if you have a specific member, like I know I was the first one, so that was number one, or you can get the table IDs from tables, so don't have to worry about those just having to make them up. Then you have the member find record. So this line right here just says to find all the records in member, sort it by name, and then limit it by 15. So I think I broke Chrome. I'm on the development version of Chrome, by the way, so it's not Pods. It's Chrome.